Hey, everybody. This is Joshua Littrell with the Veterans for Cannabis podcast. Thanks so much for tuning in. Today, I am absolutely delighted to have Adam ABERLE joining us as our guest. Adam is a veteran just like myself, and we're going to talk about hemp and a little bit of the background about the industry and just get into what does the growing season look like this year. Adam, how are you doing?
I'm good. How about yourself today?
I'm doing well, man. Thanks so much for joining us. I appreciate you, first and foremost, taking the time out of your schedule to get this in. And then, just embarking your knowledge upon those people who are our listeners that are really interested in either one, learning about cannabis, or two, maybe getting into the industry or even looking for product too. So I know you kind of get all that taken care of. So, Adam, if you don't mind.
We vertically integrated for sure.
Beautiful. If you don't mind, before we get started, if you'll let our listeners know where you're at, located geographically in the country today.
I live in Beloit, Wisconsin. My farm is in Beloit, and then we also run a retail store in Janesville, Wisconsin.
Awesome, brother. Awesome. So we're really excited today here on the Veterans for Cannabis podcast to have you, first and foremost, because you're a brother that served. And the other part of that is our farm, our very first farm, in fact, is in Wisconsin, in Eau Claire. So I think being able to really tie these two in together and work with each other moving forward, that's really what this is all about. And for those listeners, it's about learning how to work with other people, because there's plenty of market out there, is there not? I mean, there's no question
there's a
demand.
ton of market. No, demand is there. On the retail end, it's there. There's a lot of material out there. Unfortunately, there's a lot of low quality material, which is not the farmer's fault. And then what we have is a hold up on processing.
Mm-hmm.
It takes time and labor and equipment, and that equipment is very expensive to be able to turn the hemp plant into a usable product, unless you're just trimming the flower for smokable. But that's not everybody's favorite way of using it.
Yeah, that's so true.
So the processing's slow. I mean, my equipment that I have to process my stuff, it takes me, a full day to run 8 pounds. And then
Adam, what are you doing? Are you doing ethanol extraction? Are you doing CO2?
No, we're doing ethanol. We do have the capacity to do butane, but we haven't done that as of yet. Because with butane, you still have to go through all the post-processing stuff.
That's right.
And then, in my opinion, unless you're using it as a smokable product, whether if you were going to use it for dabs or for some type of concentrate smoking, that's a good thing about butane. But until they change the laws and they say, okay, it came from hemp, which has less than 0.3, and, well, I'm not even going to say change the law, because the way the law is written, anything that's made from hemp should be allowed to have a THC concentration greater than that 0.3, because the plant had a concentration less than, but everybody's treating it like no product can have more than 0.3% THC, and even though the law doesn't say that.
Yeah,
and I don't have $100,000 to hire a lawyer to fight that.
Well, that's what I was about to say. I think you're going to see this year will be the year where somebody litigates this, and we'll get our true answer, because I believe, just like you believe, and just like so many others believe, that as long as we have an industrial hemp license, we're growing industrial hemp, it doesn't matter what that end product THC concentration is, as long as that legal product passed all the testing scenarios that we had to do to get the certification to be industrial hemp. So we're on board with you, brother.
Well, and if you want to get into the entourage effect, and if you want to get into what's actually going to be used as something that's beneficial to people, I mean, that 250 milligram bottle of tincture, it's not going to do much for you. Right. Yeah, that 20 milligram gummy might help you for a little while, but excuse me if I'm jumping the gun here, but one of the things you wanted to talk about was why I'm doing this. And,
yeah, absolutely.
I'm a veteran. I'm 38 years old. I'll be 39 next week. So
Adam,
pretty much
talk about
everyone
that real
from
quick, if you don't mind. Hit on your service, the Navy guy, right?
Yeah, I'm Navy.
What'd you do?
I went to college, and that didn't quite work out for me. And I went back home for a little while and just kind of needed something to do. I'd been Air Force junior ROTC in high school, and then I know you're an Air Force guy, so I'm not going to give you a hard time because both my parents are veteran Air Force.
Okay.
But so I was junior ROTC in high school, and then I went to college on an Air Force ROTC scholarship.
Awesome.
And quite frankly, I couldn't stand it.
It's not for everybody.
So I went, but then 6 months after leaving college, because I wasn't going to maintain that scholarship, I ended up, I don't know, I was working at a bar late one night. I was on the internet, early days, dial up, all that stuff. And there was like an ad that I saw about going into the Army to be a helicopter pilot, and they had a direct to warrant officer program.
Sure.
I went in and I checked that out with the Army recruiter. And basically it would have come down to, I got a 99 on my ASVAB, and I could have gone into the direct warrant program, except for I wore glasses, and the Army recruiter was not willing to fill out a waiver for me.
That's right. And then you would have had to have corrective surgery too.
Well, he said, we can get you a waiver, but I'd rather put you in as a crew chief. You'll go into the E3 directly. And I said, have a nice day. And I walked right next door to the Navy recruiter's office. And I had graduated high school with the chief who used to be in charge of the office. So I knew him.
Nice.
And I was like, I just got a 99 on my ASVAB. What do you offer me? And they said, anything you want. So they talked to me about the nuclear program, a guy who I knew, this is getting way into it, but a guy who I knew who graduated like 2 years earlier than me had gone to be a nuke. So I took that test, passed it, went, got my date, which was April 17th of 2000, that I shipped out to Great Lakes.
Nice.
And then did Great Lakes, then did nuclear school training in Charleston, and then ended up on the Seawolf out of Groton, Connecticut for a couple of years.
Wow. Well, first and foremost, brother, I say thank you so much for your service to this country. I'm a firm believer. Well, it's what it's about. It's about us. It's about, doing what we believe in, and that's protecting our family, our country, and our friends, so we did that. So now you're in the hemp industry. How did that happen?
I am. Well, a couple of roundabout ways, but, going back to, I'm a service veteran. And granted, I was on subs. I never saw, ground combat. I saw some stuff on subs that I wish I could forget, for sure.
Sure.
But everybody in my age group, again, I'm, about to be 39 years old. Most of my friends have been, especially Army and Marines, they saw some type of service in Afghanistan or Iraq or something like that.
That's right.
And I can tell you that not a single one of them sleeps through the night.
Yeah.
Not a single one of them doesn't, have nightmares and, bad effects. A couple of them are even still active duty reserve. Good friend of mine, I won't say his name on here, but he's still active duty reserve. He works at Chrysler. And when they bought their house, they bought near the baseball stadium in Beloit.
Okay.
Well, after every game, they shoot off fireworks.
Oh.
And his wife bought the house when he was deployed. So he came home and, first time, he didn't come home during the summer, but the first time they had that baseball game and the fireworks went off, he told me he was rolling under his bed.
Oh, I believe
it. And he was flipping out until his wife, was able to calm him down.
Golly.
I've got another friend, Army vet. He did 6 years in Afghanistan straight.
Wow.
Can't hold a job. He'd love to, but he just can't. And cannabis is the only thing that helps him get through the day, helps him be a good dad, helps him be who he wants to be. If he wasn't, it takes away the brokenness. So that's one thing that I've seen cannabis do. I've also seen, and I'm really trying to run on the line where I'm not making medical claims here.
Sure. As we all have
because,
to, right?
Just because I do own the farm and I own a processing and extraction company and we manufacture products and I have a store.
Right.
But I've seen this improve people's wellness, my wife especially, with issues with anxiety. and just helps her de-stress. I started using it years ago for pain. I ended up falling down a ladder well when I was in the Navy, which is just a fancy name for a long metal staircase.
Oh,
My
okay.
back's been messed up ever since I was there. So sometime around 2002 or 3, and I've got sciatic nerve pain, and using topicals definitely makes it so that I can move better and get through the day. So I saw this plant as something that is just really beneficial, and I've always liked growing. I like being outside. I like doing, and I've been my own boss, so I said I can give this a go, and I've had help. I've had some really good, knowledgeable people kind of guide me along and train me up into what to do with these plants, and scaling it up to working, with a couple thousand of them on a couple of acres is a daunting task.
It sure is.
But it's
and are
well
you doing
worth
that by
it.
yourself, Adam, or do you have a team?
A little bit of both. Some days it's just me out there. Some days it's me and my family. Sometimes I've got, a couple of friends, in a team. First year getting through the financial issues of getting the farm up and running, there hasn't been the money for the labor that I wanted. So then it just falls on you to put in more hours and get it done. My
But that's what we do,
cousins
bro.
and
You know that.
Yeah,
Just get the mission
just
done.
get it done. Yeah, just get it done. That's exactly it. You can't play games with it, and when your family is relying on you to pull something off, then you just pull it off.
That's right, 100%. So last year, was last year your first grow, or how long have you been in the growing industry side of it?
So I established Rock Hemp Corp in 2019. Yes.
Okay.
I was actually I was looking at moving to Oklahoma in October of 2018 because I had a friend who moved down there shortly after Oklahoma went medically legal for marijuana, and had been down there for not even a month, and said, get down here because you can help people. We can get something going and it'll really work out.
Well, and for our listeners, Adam, before you go into that any further, Oklahoma has probably the best medical cannabis program in the country that has the least amount of requirements to enter into the market as a business owner. So that's a great opportunity, that nobody really talks about.
And not only that, but Oklahoma, the way they passed their bill, it is totally designed to put a beneficial, I'll use the word medicine because they have medical.
Well, it is medicine. That's correct.
Yeah, I know, but you know what I'm saying, just, FDA and all that garbage. So Oklahoma's plan is to put medicine in the hands of people who need it.
That's right.
They're not looking at it as a revenue stream. Yes, there's some tax on it, and what they do with that tax is it's specifically earmarked for drug and alcohol abuse counseling and addiction counseling, and then the taxes just run the program. So they're not looking at it as, hey, this is the new lottery tax,
right?
Like some of these other states are doing. So, yeah, this person had moved down to Oklahoma because of the medical cannabis, and told me that if I came down, I could help get a grow going and help out more people. And I was really looking into doing that. But I've got 4 kids. I'm pretty established here in Wisconsin. I didn't want to pick up and move. We had
That's
done
a
that
hard change.
We did that in 2012, moving from New Hampshire back to Wisconsin. So,
wow.
Doing a second move, 6 years apart, and then now I don't have family and friends in Oklahoma except for the one friend down there who got herself established.
Right.
I just happened to come across an acquaintance of mine who had grown hemp in 2018, very beginning of November. And we were talking, and he was telling me how great the hemp thing was. And I remember reading in November, December of 2017 about Wisconsin passing their pilot program for hemp. And I was like,